Well, I have a question. Speaking about, everything you're already doing outside of wrestling, I have to ask about the cruise coming up October 27th to the 31st. It seems like it's going to be a round robin of activities. Is there any intrigue as to how wrestling fans are going to act when they know their heroes can't get away from them on the ship?
Oh shit!
Well, let me put it to you this way, and this is how I got the idea. Fozzy played the Kiss Cruise back in September, and September 15, and I always say that wrestling fans, Kiss fans, and Star Wars fans are very similar in that they're very loyal. They hate everything, but they're also very passionate, very critical, but they'll die for their chosen, form of entertainment. So Kiss Cruise was interesting because they're all Kiss fans. That's all they're talking about. That's all there is. But it was really cool because the first day you get on board and everybody wants to take a picture. Everybody wants to say hi. Cool. Second day, it's a little bit more. Third day, you're just another guy on the ship. And that's where the real fun part of it comes in. It's an experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. And that's where I thought, listen, I could do this, combine rock and roll and wrestling, what I'm known for. And listen, my schedule's ridiculous. I'm not going to have, any fun at all. I'm working the whole damn time. But I have to sell this cruise. I have to make it a success. So, wrestling fans are going to have a great time. It might be a little bit crazy for the boys, but it's going to be a fun experience for everybody because it's people that are all from the same mindset of really loving this certain art form of wrestling and love rock and roll as well and love live comedy and love, live podcasting and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's never been done before. I'm taking a big chance. But I had to do it, and so far so good. And my goal is for it to be an annual destination vacation. In year 2, I've already got X-Pac 12360 on the docket for a live podcast. If you could put up with it. I don't want you to go back to doing drugs again, Sean. But
I was just telling these guys, Chris, that I have an aversion to cruises. Like that's the only reason I didn't mention coming on the Jericho cruise. It's because I had the worst goddamn experience on a cruise with my family, and I couldn't hide from anyone. And the people stole my family's pictures off the bulletin board.
What?
Oh yeah. So I was.
It's a little bit different because you will be protected a little bit more.
Okay.
But like I said, I think
I'm in, Chris.
And the other thing too is it's so funny. I'm not a promoter, but now by proxy I kind of am.
Yeah, you are.
I'm booking the guys, and you wouldn't believe the guys coming out of the woodwork. Hey man, can I come on that wrestling cruise you got going on there? I'm not going to mention any names, but you put 2 and 2 together. It's like every guy that's working in Fayetteville, Kentucky on a Sunday night at the high school gym is calling to get on the cruise. And it's like, I'm nice to everybody, but I'm like, dude, what am I going to bring you on the cruise?
Yeah.
Well, how many tickets are you going to sell on this damn cruise?
Hey, is JoJo Starbuck going to be on the cruise?
He's on there, brother. He's coming on there. It's a hell of a deal.
Hey, is there any last stuff before we dude, you've been so generous with your time, Chris. I'm really grateful. We're gonna let you go here in a second here.
Well, before we let you go, I just wanted to get your opinion on the 2 passings we've had recently with Vinnie Paul from Pantera and
Yeah, man. It's actually, I did a show earlier today for Talking Jericho with Charlie from Anthrax and Chris from Lamb of God talking about Vinnie. Vinnie was one of those guys. I will use this as an analogy that Sean can understand. He was a more partying version of Owen Hart, a guy that everybody loved, always had a smile on his face, very generous, just a great, great guy. And, also living with the pain of having his brother, Dimebag Darrell murdered in front of him. Everybody loved the guy. And there was countless times, whether it's at his house in Dallas or his house in Vegas, you would stay up all night drinking, and before you pass out, he's got to make breakfast for everybody. I'm not talking about waffles in a toaster. I'm talking full-on eggs and bacon and sausage and, just one of those guys like, come on, we'll have some breakfast, man, and he would make it for you. And it's really sucks because everybody that I know that knew Vinny loved him. There's nobody saying, oh, that guy was a jerk or whatever. Just a real sweetheart of a guy that should not be should not be dead. And it's a tough one for me, man. We've lost a lot of friends over the years in this business, and some of them are harder than others. And this one for me is one of the hardest ones that I've ever had to deal with. So it's a drag, man. It really is, and it's one of those things. When you're on the road like we are, and we talked earlier, Sean, about quote unquote heat back in the day or whatever it was. There's no heat, man. There's dudes that do what we love to do. We travel the world. We know the ups of it, and we know the downs of it. We know the sacrifices that you have to make, the shitty things you have to deal with, the fuck ups that we make. And when you lose one of your brothers, it's just one less guy that you can go to if you ever need to talk, and Vin's like one of those guys for me. So it's been a sad week for sure.
It's brutal. I just saw him at Sebastian Bach's 50th birthday party, man. It was so crazy. It was just... He's one of those guys that was always around. I was starting to think about it. I was like, dude, I must have hung out with Vinnie Paul 50 times. Yeah. Like, there was this time and there was that time. And he had a limousine. It was a limousine from about 1985 that he bought. But I remember one time he came and saw our show in Tyler, Texas at the Oil Dome. Oh, and then we rode back to Dallas. You remember that venue? Yep.
Back to Dallas. Like limousine, this whole jalopy limousine. And, just like you said, if someone's having a birthday party, hey, you want to come? I'll be there. And you would see him at all those places. Every Golden Gods that we ever did, he'd always be there. Or, just anytime Fozzy played Dallas or Vegas when we were in town, if he was in town, he would be there. I mean, the last time I saw him was in March at a Fozzy show. And, it was just one of those guys. He was always there and just smile on his face and drink in his hand and hell yeah, 1-2 barbecue. And, like I said, it's a drag that he's not with us, man. And I'm pretty bummed out about it.